Hello. Today is Friday, Friday, December 2nd, 2016, and I wanted to share a vision that I had on November 17th, 2016. So just a couple weeks ago, and it took me a while to share this because I guess I wanted to do some research, which I didn't do a whole lot of extensive research, but I did look up a couple things to share along with this vision that I had. Very strange vision. Never had a vision like this before. What was so strange about it was the way that it happened. It wasn't like a visual something that came into my field of vision. It was strange. I was at work, and I'll just read it. It says, I was at work today, and I was in a room with a client, and I put the person's name and what room it was. And I had a very strange experience. It wasn't a vision, and it wasn't the still small voice, but it was like a vision. But instead of the visual, I had something like a deja vu. It was like I was for a flash. It was like I was for a flash in a certain place in the Colosseum, the Roman Colosseum. I felt it. And something more than a still small voice said, Nero's lions. It said, Nero's lions. It was like an open vision, but with your eyes closed or something. I knew that the persecution of us will get just that bad. It's going to be just that deep and desperate. Someone had just walked past the room before this happened. They may or may not have said something to me. I just sensed the human disconnect that will allow people to go there. And what I meant by, as that person passed by, there was like a wickedness in them. Just a new baseline for wickedness in people. A cruelty, a heartlessness, a lack of compassion. Hey, thank you, Jesus. Just a new low of godlessness that will allow them to see something as cruel as other people being fed to the lions. So, like I said, I was in this room, and I had this very strange sensation come over me, like real quick. It was though I was, for that second, I was in another place, or something like the other place was superimposed upon the place where I was. It was as though I was fully in both those places at the same time. It was like just for a second I left where I was, and I was literally in the Roman Colosseum. It was every bit like that. Okay? And then at the same time that happened, I heard said, Nero's lions. And I felt all of this, okay? And then, like I said, somebody passed by the room. Just right before this happened, somebody passed by the room and they like gave me a glancing look. A very, just a look in passing, and I could see the coldness in the heart of that random person. Knowing that the coldness in that heart was in many hearts, and that this same coldness will allow people to participate in, go along with, and not object to all manner of horrible persecutions that Christians will suffer. Nero's lions. Now, Nero, in case there's someone who needs a reminder or just doesn't know, Nero was an emperor in Rome. He became emperor in 54 AD, and he died 14 years later at his own hand of suicide. He did survive an assassination attempt by some of the people in his government because he was literally a madman. He was insane. He had one wife murdered, and he kicked another wife. He kicked another pregnant wife to death because she had noticed and innocently mentioned an error that he had made in a dramatic performance that he was giving. That's just how big his ego was, or how fragile his ego was. He couldn't tolerate coming face to face with the fact that he had made a mistake. So another thing that happened during during the time he was emperor was 10 years after he became emperor, Rome burned down. This was in 64 AD. And it is rumored that he set that fire, but what he ended up doing was they blamed the Christians for it. They somehow blamed the Christians for burning down Rome. And that became the backdrop and the excuse for a full-on persecution of Christians. And one of the things that they used to like to do was to, for entertainment, take them to the Roman Colosseum, which is like an arena. Something like, you say, like the Superdome. Imagine that. I don't know where the Superdome is. Is that the place where, in New Orleans? Well, scratch that. I don't know where, but someplace like that. Wrigley Field. And to take Christians there, these people, they would be falsely accused of different crimes. And then as their punishment, which was really persecution, they would be like trapped out there in the viewing area, and then they would have hungry lions released on them. And then the people would gather, and for their entertainment, they would watched the Christians be mauled and pulled apart and eaten by these lions. And I saw that. I didn't actually see those scenes of people being ripped apart, but as I described the vision to you, it was. So, wow. When I was thinking about giving this word, I don't want people to become frightened, but God does want us to be prepared. And He does want you to know how to look at your loved ones that perish. That to be absent from the body is to be present with the Lord. And that when they die, they finish their course. When people who are martyred during this time, this coming time, very soon coming time, I believe that it'll all begin within the year, very soon, of 2017. Anyway, when those things happen, that to be absent from the body is to be present from the Lord, to be present with the Lord. And, they go straight from this suffering into the presence of God. Like Jesus said when He was being crucified, when He was, being dragged through the streets, carrying His cross on His way to the place of the skull, some ladies were weeping for Him. And He stopped and said, don't weep for me. Weep for yourselves and weep for your children. He said, weep for us, this generation. And He made a comment. He said, think about this that He said. He said, if these are the things that are done in the green tree, when the branch is green, what's going to be done when the wood is dry? We live in the time of the dry wood, when all the love of people is wax cold and they're capable. The average person is capable of great cruelty. Children are capable of great cruelty. And like I said, at the end of that, or right before I saw that vision, I saw this coldness in this person's eyes. I saw what I called it was the human disconnect. Their lack of humanity and ability to see each other as connected. So Jesus was saying, if they're taking me, an innocent person, and able to do the great cruelty that they've already done to me, and then they're going to top it all off with hanging me on the cross. And that was 2,000 years ago, and much love has leached out of the human condition since then. So what kind of cruelty will they be capable of now? So Jesus was telling those women, don't weep for me. I'm going to my Father. So don't weep for the dead. They finished their course. They're going to their reward. Their suffering has come to an end. We're going to have to go back to those old things and let go of all the compromising that we've done with the world. where it is, too grievous a thing to be asked to die for your faith. No, it's not. No, it's not. Gotta go back to what Jesus said. You love your life, you're going to lose it. And if you hate your life, you're going to find it. Point blank. No apologies. This is the gospel as it was laid out by Jesus Christ. And it's the only thing that saves. So that was that vision. The unvision. Nero's lions. Great persecution. Trampled, worn out. Don't get discouraged. But Jesus knows it's necessary that we know that these things are coming. That we won't think it's strange, that we won't give up, that we won't think he's forgotten about us when these things happen. Stay prayerful. God bless you guys.